Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic episode of The Left Wing. I am TJ Whitehead, powers taken, not given, joined, as always, by John Cooper of Counterpoint Politics. How you been, man? How you been?
Been good, TJ. It feels like last time we spoke, like last week, we were like, oh, God, it's nice to come back after taking a week off. I have so much to say, and it feels like a whole other week has happened in between the last time we talked on Thursday and today on Tuesday. Whew.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I was like, when did this guy get shot? I was trying to remember because the time, it's just been so
Tuesday,
weird lately.
It was either Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday night, Wednesday morning.
It was, yeah. It was because I was trying to remember too if we had talked about it on the show, and I was like, yeah, I think at the very end, we discussed it, didn't we, with Tim?
Yeah, no, we discussed it on the show for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if we discussed it a week ago. That's when I don't even remember. Time goes so fast. Something I was not politically engaged, but not as involved in the constant discourse previous to being a content creator. And I wonder if anyone who pays attention to the discourse has this just complete misunderstanding of how time works because they're constantly inundated with this bullshit, or if that's a specific symptom of being a political content creator where it's just like, oh, well, fuck. So much is happening all the time. I never have time to ever catch up, and it's just crazy.
No, I think it is just a product of the world we live in now, where I mean, the one we've been in for years now, the 24-hour news cycles, and things happen and disappear all the time. And the big news stories, it's hard to pin down when they actually happen. Like, they did, but everything just kind of runs together. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of odd.
Which actually, that segues us in something I wanted to bring up here.
Sure.
The staying power of this story might be the most relevant part of it because, even like the sub thing, I think that the sub thing also had this sort of collective outpouring of support for the submarine, but like it didn't have a specific bent to the message. It's just like, fuck rich people dying in a submarine. It's kind of funny. And, nothing could ever be done about it. But this has a very specific bent to this story that directly correlates with political action should any political party who just got their asses kicked choose to take it. But it stayed a long time. And this is one of those things where non-political people are fucking talking about it. Like my brother asked me. My brother, I barely knows I do this. And he's just like, yo, you hear about the UHC assassin? And I was like, did you hear about the UHC assassin? And like, everyone's talking about it. And what do you think the actual general consensus is outside of our bubbles?
Well, first of all, thank you, Jazz. It happened Wednesday. Okay, so we didn't talk about it Tuesday, but we did on Thursday. Thank you. Like the days are running together. I knew it was the 4th. I should have checked the calendar there. But I think the general consensus, from what I've seen, is that people love this guy, and they did before we knew who he was, or allegedly is. I don't want to, say anything out of turn here. We'll get to that soon enough. But the people had an upswelling of support for him. We had all the fucking nerds out there like Josh Shapiro and Eric Adams. Oh, Eric Adams. I got to find the Eric Adams video. The mayor of New York, Eric Adams, called the cop that arrested Luigi Mangione and congratulated him, did a whole video on it. And I was like, man, I got to tell you, if I were a politician, I understand if you're the governor of a state or the mayor of a city, you can't get up there, even if you think it in your heart of hearts, F that health insurance guy, I'm glad he got clipped. I realize you can't do that, but you don't got to glaze the cops and do this pontification about how what he did was an outrage. I know I would never do something like that. I mean, if I were forced to make a statement, it's like, well, our officers got a job to do and they're very capable at their work. It's something like that, just as benign as possible. So, but I think this has a lot more staying power than most news stories. And specifically, since you mentioned the sub, for reasons that but the sub had no active agent. The sub was just the machine that collapsed. And in this one, we do have an active agent. And then in the beginning, it was a mystery. For 5 days, this guy, no one knew who he was. We had a blurry image of him flirting with a worker at a Starbucks, and that's all we had to go on. So then we was like, oh man, this guy might be in Mexico now. He may have gotten away with it. Then they arrest him. So this story is going to keep developing. Like this story is going to be several months long. It's not going anywhere.
So do you think, first, I want to just what I said. I'm surprised. I just looked it up. There's no polls about support for this guy, which is actually fucking shocking.
Is it though? I mean, come on. Do you support this murder? I mean, if you're a reputable newspaper, that's going to be a weird one.
So,
to
okay,
ask,
I'm not saying the New York Times should do it, but like, how come YouGov hasn't done it? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like they're. I'm surprised. Like the fucking, one of those fucking tabloids. Whatever. Like they post smut all the time. Like,
yeah.
Why hasn't anyone? Because I don't know the right answer, TJ, because we live on the internet where these things tend to be celebrated, and also celebrated by people who don't necessarily actually believe in the celebration. It's just they're memeing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the average American actually feels about this. But I will fucking guarantee you that the average American at least has more sympathy for him than others. Like at the very least, they're like, you know what? I don't support killers. I don't like celebrating him, but I get it. And I think that is the average American experience. If you look at like the Ben Shapiro comment section.
Oh God, what a fucking nerd, man. Yeah, it's just like no one. And the thing is, Americans kind of see through this. I mean, this is the most frustrating part. And I'm pretty sure we talked about it on Thursday. I don't know how we couldn't have, but what bothers me is that you see this nationwide cheering on of Luigi Mangione. He's like, yeah, we understand, man. The health insurance industry has fucked us over. It's awful. I get it from our side. From the right side, what is going on? What is happening? This is pretty much the exact system you guys want, where and their answer would be something I already know. Their answer would be something like, well, we need a good CEO. We need a good person to run this company and make the right decisions that don't harm people. And it's like, you guys don't understand. CEOs have a fiduciary, a legal responsibility to make as much money for their shareholders as it is against the law for them to purposefully and knowingly reduce the amount of money that the shareholders are owed for that investment. Like they go to jail for that. So there's no other way to do this. What that CEO did was wrong. It was immoral. He ended up killing thousands of people, but that was his job. His job was to kill people. And it's okay because it's killing with paperwork and not with a firearm.
There's so much fun and discussion to be had about this. There's so many things. We could spend this entire show, which we probably will.
We will. Yeah.
And the next entire show talking about this. And it just will never end because there's so many lenses to view this from. And I just can't help but think about how what you just said, why is the right wing into this? I said on this show, TJ, you're like in the early days before you, like that of all of the progressive policy goals that we have over on our side, universal healthcare is the most likely one to be implemented first. And I remember saying that and getting a little bit of resistance, or at least a little bit of, I don't know about that. And this has just proven to me how clearly and obviously right I was when I made that statement. I say things that are wrong, but this one I'm still very fucking confident about because yeah, you're right. The right-wing policy position isn't necessarily universal healthcare. But you know what? When you poll Americans about universal healthcare and don't fucking misword the poll in an intentional way to lead them away from universal healthcare, they tend to like universal healthcare. They have their qualms about the government running healthcare or whatever.
That's it. Yeah.
When you explain to them that what a lot of people, at least in America, are pushing for on the left is not a state-run medical system similar to the NHS, but instead a state-run health insurance system, that makes them a lot happier with it. Like, I don't actually get much resistance from Republicans in general when I say, hey, what if we just like had the government run health insurance, not healthcare? They just collect everyone's money and redistribute it for medical expenses and do not need to take any profit, don't need to spend money on marketing, don't need to hire these big teams. It's simplified and they aren't actually making decisions on your healthcare. That's the doctors. Conservatives typically agree with that because everyone in America has been fucked over by health insurance at one point or another. And if they haven't yet, it's because they're between the ages of 26 and 27. And they just haven't had a chance to be fucked over by a health insurance company yet. So like, yeah, I do think there is bipartisan support for universal health care if anyone would just have the balls to have the political will to implement it, because this is such a great example of establishment versus anti-establishment, the establishment liberal moderates preventing progressive change. Because if you look even at the battle lines of like pearl clutchers versus people rooting for the CEO, the pearl clutchers are the people who are most staunchly, establishment Democrats, whose lives are overall pretty good. They recognize that the health insurance system isn't the best, maybe, but like they're cool with it because they have really good jobs with really good insurance, and it's never fucked them over. And that's the people who I see clutching their pearls about this. And that's the kind of people who vote for Joe Biden because he's going to veto fucking universal health care. Like, it's so obvious to me where these battle lines are being drawn, and it is not left right. It is very much up down.
Yeah, I don't know. I've said for a long time that universal health care is the biggest no-brainer in American politics. There are no good arguments to keep our system. Everyone else, literally everybody else, Turkey has universal health care. They're blowing us out of the water. Like the United States, like we spend more money and we have worse results. We have shorter life expectancy than comparable nations. There's no defending the system at all. But there's still, I mean, and I know the polls say that, 70% of Americans support universal, if you word it the right way and everything, but it's not politically popular. And what I mean by that is even with Democrats, like Joe Biden, like when he ran before he was elected, said, yeah, if I get universal health care, I'm vetoing it. Like that was, he paid no price for that. Well, as far in the Democratic primary, Democrats run on universal health care. Sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. More Democrats openly say, no, we're not doing it, and they still keep getting elected. So it's not a priority, it seems. Like, it's weird. Like, to us, it makes no sense to me. I have no idea why, that's just Democrats.
I mean,
that's not Republicans.
You know exactly why.
No, I mean, I know why the politicians are like this, but the voters don't make them pay for it. They don't. And they will tell them straight to their face, no, it is irresponsible. You'll have long wait lines. You'll have all this bullshit. It'll be a reduction in care. And people are like, oh yeah, that's good. We better not do that. I think that the polls that come out and stuff, that it does show it, but when the rubber meets the road and it's time to vote, it's just not there. It's just not. And I hope it is one day, but I've been waiting a long time for this shit, and we're still waiting for it,
So I think that we're going to see, if there's going to be momentum with it, we're going to see it in the 2026 midterms, because I wouldn't be surprised if I saw quite a few Democratic politicians unseat Republican incumbents in red states and have this be a key part of their messaging, because it is anti-establishment. It is, I see your pain. We're going to fix this shit. And you can sell that message to a wide swath of Americans in an apolitical way. And so you could see progressives unseat liberal moderates in the primary, or to defeat liberal moderates in the primaries, and then run a relatively, socially centrist campaign with these kind of populist economic messages, and fucking clean house with a Republican incumbency that probably isn't going to age very well, I'm assuming. And I could see that being an impetus to develop the political will for people to come into the Democratic primaries in 2028 and win with that messaging. Now, the problem is you need not just one. You can't just have Bernie, and it won't be Bernie, but you need multiple people all saying this message in unison. Because the problem is, if it's just Bernie, and even in the 2020 primaries, I mean, you had fucking Kamala Harris like fucking flip-flopped on this issue, but you had like Bernie, and
Tulsi Gabbard even said it.
Tulsi Gabbard, yeah, exactly. You had this, but as soon as they consolidated around Biden, it was all over. It was just gamesmanship. You can see from Kamala Harris very clearly she didn't believe in it, and That's why she lost, But like, you need multiple true believers, multiple, freedom fighters on our side, and we can have that in 2020, assuming that the Trump presidency goes like we assume it's going to go.
I think that I joke about this plenty of times, but every day I'm leaning closer and closer to actually not joking about it anymore. I think the only way this shit works is if we run as Republicans. I think that we need a bunch of people to run as Republicans and just phrase your messaging in a way the fucking rubes will understand it and say, oh, that's really cool. You wanna help American families. I think it's the only way. Then you get in office and do what you gotta do. But I think that a lot of people, we know that a lot of people are just toxically antagonistic to anyone with a blue D next to their name. They're just not doing it. They don't trust it. And because it's, I don't know, the arguments are just, you know what I was thinking? We were talking about how there's no good arguments against this. Do you remember that story? This happened when Bernie was running, and that lady mentioned that she had her face ripped off by a bear. And the worst part of her ordeal was that she didn't have help arguing with the health insurance companies. Do you remember that?
No, but that it does strike me in the heart. It does. Like, I'm just like, you know what? I understand what you're talking about, lady.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been mauled by a bear, to be fair, but basically every single time I've had a health problem, the most painful part of that health problem is dealing with the insurance company.
It is, and honestly, the fact, because that's what I try to sell whenever I'm talking about universal health care, is that, do you enjoy arguing with your health insurance provider when it comes to covering a surgery or covering an illness? Hell, even the fact that you have to sign up, hey, we got a gold plan, a silver plan, and a bronze plan, and just gamble that you're not going to get any of these that are on the gold plan. It's insane. So I pulled up the story here, actually. As this is a lady who was attacked by a bear. As I was being eaten, I was thinking about my insurance. Woman who lost her face in bear attack on why she's voting for Bernie Sanders. This is back in 2020, 2016. And she mentions that she's 68 years old and she was on a schedule. She was a secluded ranch in the southern part of California. And in 2008, she was attacked by a bear. The attack, which left extensive facial injuries and pain, was not the hardest moment for Ms. Hansen. Instead, she said dealing with her private insurance company, Blue Cross, to cover medical bills was the most debilitating. Blue Cross did not respond with this comment. Literally, as I was being eaten by a wild beast, I wasn't thinking about Jesus or my family or my son. I was thinking my insurance was not going to pay for this. I had to make this calculus as I was being eaten. Do I want to survive this? Not can I survive this? Not what am I going to look like? She added, I think that speaks volumes to the American healthcare system. And she says she comes from a family of doctors, and what she had dealt with in her family's aftermath bear attack is a substantial reason why she put her support behind Bernie Sanders. I would like to see a standardized single payer system, and I have for a long time supported Bernie Sanders because of that. People don't realize that there's a public benefit to providing reasonable health care. Where is this? There's something on here. It talks about, give me 1 second. Many of Miss Hansen's injuries from the bear attack involved facial reconstruction and ophthalmological work, a majority of which went uncovered by a private insurance plan. My face is ripped off. You couldn't even tell that I was a human being. I had very extensive facial injuries and head injuries. The woman lost 14 teeth when the bear attacked, and the animal destroyed a large part of her face that included her nose, eye sockets, and upper jaw. And should they make money by denying services and not providing it? And I'm gonna keep reading. But basically, she says that, like, the insurance company says that they'll cover injuries that are standard and normal. And there's nothing normal about being eaten by a bear. And so they could deny lots of her surgeries. And she's given up on getting extra surgery now. Like, she got it to where it was manageable, but kind of left it alone at that. That's what people have to go through with this. This is an extreme example, but it could have happened with anything. If you had no insurance at all, insurance ain't covering it.
I also hate the arguments people make, like, in favor of health insurance companies. Like, it's just like the most depraved fucking arguments. By the way,
Awful.
I vote Democrats and Republicans.
Awful.
But like, it's just like, oh yeah, well, if we just let doctors set the terms and they're just going to charge a shitload, and that's a problem. I'm like, okay, bro. Yes, it could cause problems if you just give a blank check to people. That's fine. But that doesn't mean you should just give the blank check to someone else who's seeking. At least the fucking doctors are trying to, like, make a medical decision. Whereas the health insurance company is not trying to make a medical decision. It's not part of their goals as a company at all. They don't provide medical service. They're not trying to treat people. They're trying to prevent people from being treated as much as possible in order to make money. And if they were to stop existing tomorrow, nothing would change. You'd receive the same amount of care. You'd probably receive more care because the people making decisions are making them for medical purposes. It is the dumbest thing ever. We can fix whatever other problems come from that. Like that, there's definitely problems with health services in general being too expensive in this country. You know why that is? Because we have all these requirements to become a fucking doctor. We make people go into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt in order to do so. We don't allow medical practice by people who would otherwise be qualified, like nurse practitioners, in order to treat certain things. And we could get rid of all of that very easily and reduce our medical costs in this country. And that's not even talking about drugs. Like, these are pretty simple solutions that would have massive effects and also make all of our lives easier. I would rather pay a little bit more for health insurance, for my health care, and not have to deal with all the bullshit. I would make that trade in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? And I imagine most people would too. And the fun part is, that's not what I actually, it actually is. I actually pay more for the privilege of banging my dick into a cheese grater every time I want to go to the doctor. Like that, and it's so insane. You don't even have to. I don't think in 2016 you would have seen this guy getting celebrated like that.
Interesting. And I wonder.
And like as you're saying, I don't think it's going to happen. Consider that, because I really don't fucking think that would have been the case. I think in 2016, if this guy went and assassinated the same CEO, I mean, it was a different CEO back then, but like, I don't think he would have had this outpouring of support behind him. But it's pretty obvious where that support is coming from. Being both sides of the aisle is such an indicator to me that there is a political will necessary to bring about change. Whether it will be capitalized upon by the people who can actually make that change, I do not know, but the political will is there.
So that's what I think, honestly, what's more likely happens, that there is like this thing with Republicans talk about all the time, how they're angry about the right things. They just think of the worst solutions imaginable. So eggs cost too much. Let's get Donald Trump in there to implement tariffs. So that's how people think. And so like I can see, I see that they're mad, but they have no solutions that make any logical sense at all. And you were mentioning how people argue that, well, if we have a single payer system, then doctors will charge more. I struggle to imagine how that would actually happen, though.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't, because you can just negotiate from a single payer level, and you have a lot of leverage when there's only one buyer in town.
Exactly. Yeah, I tell them about drug prices and everything. So people wonder, like, drug prices are insane, and so are the prescription drugs, the insane and everything. And so, but I was like, if it was a single payer system where you have one person who buys the drugs or one entity that buys drugs for the entire country, if you spend all this time and money developing a drug, great. You want to sell it in the United States? Here's what we'll pay you for it. And they will take it because the other offer is $0. And so like that's a great system. That is a great system that helps keep costs down. And what John mentioned is very important. People, it is absurd that we force people to go into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt to become doctors. Insane. And because you know what would help decrease medical costs? More doctors, right? That obviously, right?
Econ 101 isn't always right, but in this case, it
absolutely is. Yeah. And guess what? It reduces wait times too. There is I would love for someone to tell me the benefit of putting the MD title behind a massive paywall. Why are you doing this? There are brilliant kids who would love to go into the medical field, cannot afford to do it. We'll never do it. We've lost those doctors and nurses and PAs. They're gone. They're never going to help us. And so I don't know. We just feel brain poisoned by the way things are. Must be the way things have to be. You're right though. 8 years ago this wouldn't have happened because the world's a lot different. People are a lot angrier now, which is why Trump won. Like Trump showed that I'm angry too, and it helped people support him. But which is why I'm going to take the win. I'm going to take the win that we are circling the wagons behind our boy Luigi. And I wanted, so John, do you think, obviously we don't know, do you think they got the right guy? Do you think that, I've seen a lot of opinions on this here.
So my initial knee-jerk reaction was no way they got the right guy. like I was like, so you're telling me this planned out in detail, this assassination. He knew his escape route. He engraved the fucking bullets. He filled a backpack with Monopoly money.
Hilarious.
And left it for the police to find. Hilarious. I absolutely, like, that was really
Let's hear it for our boy.
That was very impressive. But then was just carrying the murder weapon around with the fake IDs, with a manifesto. Like, are you fucking shitting me? But, like, also, you got to have a little bit of a screw loose in order to do something like this. So, like, I guess, bro, like, I don't know. It has always confused me, TJ, why there aren't more, I don't know, ex-special forces radicals out there that just fucking assassinate people at will, because it seems like it wouldn't be that difficult to do. Like, I was kind of hoping this guy would never be found so he could...
Me too.
You know what I mean? Of just like, because now that he's found, it's like, okay, there's a guy.
I know.
And he can be fallible. And it was better as a symbol, and I think it's bad overall that he was found. But like, I'm always surprised there's not more political assassinations in this world, TJ. Like, it shocks me every single day. I don't advocate for violence, TJ. I'm on record many times. Violence is not the answer. It is statistically less likely to actually succeed in its goals than nonviolent action is. But yeah. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often.
This is the topic for another show, because I feel like because I have a lot to say about this too. Not only because you're right. This was not even some like special forces trained assassin. No, some dude, 26-year-old, some fucking dude,
relatively intelligent, and like honestly only got caught because he wasn't intelligent enough. Like I think he wanted to get caught.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that. I have a lot to say about that. If he didn't want to get
caught, he would not have been caught.
So, if a person out there wants to assassinate someone bad enough, they can. Anybody. It's like there's only so many safeguards you can put in place. I'm also surprised that we don't have more car accidents than we do. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show, that human beings our brains never evolved to move 60 miles an hour. Now, there's no reason for us to know how to navigate life like that. The fact that you don't personally witness a car accident every day kind of blows my mind, that we actually can't do that.
I love when we just have the same thoughts.
You thought that too?
I think about this like every time I drive like a new car, or like, especially if it's like I drive a moving van, and it's just like, it's awkward at first, but then it's just like, oh, it's naturally now it's again an extension of my body. And it's like, wait a second. Why is my brain programmed to be able to treat this multi-ton vehicle moving at 60 miles an hour as if it is a genuine extension of my own body, because it feels as natural as walking? I feel more in control of that vehicle than I do when I'm swimming.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, true. I've thought about this many times, that I see the stats that I think car accidents they're in the top 2 or 3 causes of death in the nation. I think heart disease might be one, or other way around, maybe car accidents 1, heart disease 2, something like that.
Flip-flops.
I'm shocked it's not more. I'm shocked we don't have 5 times as many car accidents, because there's no reason for this. That we evolved to, hide from lions and pick root vegetables and shit to survive. I have no idea why, but we'll get into that a little bit. But what I'm interested in, which one should I do first? All right, so I got a picture here. So when the arrest came out, the news of the arrest came out, I did a couple videos on it and posted this, and I posted a meme saying that, it's the most Italian thing ever, that the only reason he got caught was because he was flirting with a waitress or something and he moved his mask, which is really funny. I've seen so many people comment, that's not the same guy. They look nothing alike. They look nothing alike at all. People, it kind of looks like him. All right.
Yeah, it looks like the same guy.
Listen, it might not be. I can't prove it, but you can't. I've seen several people say looks nothing like him. That's crazy. Like, come on, guys. I know you don't want the guy to get caught. I don't either, but I'm not gonna bet money that this is not the same person. I mean, that is a sharp ass chin right there. That guy's got a sharp ass chin. You're just not gonna find that anywhere. And Also, I've seen a lot of people say that this guy's a fall guy, that he's a patsy or something, that he's being set up. And they say, well, don't you know the United States government has a long history of setting people up? Yes, you're right, they do. However, I don't think that's the case this time, because try as I might, I'm having a hard time thinking of examples of when the United States government set someone up for a crime and the fall guy was a rich white guy with $1 million smile. You know, I don't remember that ever happening. By the way, this guy's family, if you look into the Mangione family, holy shit, this family owns country clubs and like hospitals, radio stations. I mean, this is a rich as fuck family. The guy's an Ivy Leaguer. No chance they would pick this guy to pick a fight with and say, oh no, we're gonna set him up on a bullshit charge. But I was wondering too, like a lot of people wondering, the circumstances were very weird. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I'm back. I lost you there. My internet just stopped for a moment.
Oh no.
What were you saying?
What was the last thing you heard me say?
I heard you saying about how his family owned country clubs.
Yeah, his family owns country clubs and radio stations. They donated $1 million to a local hospital or something. They have like a wing named after them or something. And I was like, there's no way the cops picked this guy to pick a fight with. There's no chance that they just like railroaded him out of nowhere. But it is weird, though. What's weird is exactly what you mentioned. It was 5 days since the murder, and they found him like within 100 miles or 50 miles or something. And he had the murder weapon still on him. Now, I've committed 0 murders, but I know the first thing you do is get rid of the murder weapon. Get rid of it right away. Having it on your person, having the silencer with you still, having the manifesto and all that. And the only 2 things made sense, and you brought up one of them. The first thing that I thought, well, maybe he meant to kill more people. That would make sense if he still had that on him. Or
no, because if he meant to kill more people, he would just got another gun. Like this is America, bro. Like it's not.
The man's efficient, John, and so he's like, I already got one. But I got a silencer, me. Anyway. But so
he's an engineer. He couldn't deal with that sort of inefficiency.
Yeah, and so I thought, well, maybe he was trying to kill more people, and then second, maybe he wanted to get caught. But then it's like, well, why not just turn yourself in after the murder? And he didn't call himself in. Some fucking snitch at McDonald's turned him in. So I don't know. The story is very weird.
It is. I honestly, the fucking. But you know what? You got two class traders just working in tandem against each other. That's the part that okay. So like on a more serious level, this is why violence is wrong, because not wrong but ineffective, because this guy, if he wanted to be a fucking class trader, like, bro, you are set up. You got a fucking golden aisle to do so much, and you're gonna throw it away by killing one dude, and like the one dude being not all of that influential of a dude. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that can be done and talked about because of this, but like someone with that fucking cachet could have done more if they were true, like, true believers in the cause. This guy wasn't. This guy's a fucking like political schizophrenic. Like I don't think this guy really has much behind him other than, the healthcare system is evil. And I'm going to do something about it. I don't know why he did. I'm very interested to learn more about this guy.
Okay.
But I don't think he was like some ideologically motivated assassin that was like attempting to do something big. I think he was like, fuck it, I want to kill someone.
So I did a little, internet sleuthing everybody else has done on this guy and everything. And so what I saw was he had this like back surgery a couple of years or last year or something. And actually it was this year, I think. And he kind of disappeared after he had the surgery. He just kind of vanished. And a lot of people were like trying to contact him on Twitter saying, hey man, where have you gone? No one can find you. What's going on? And I was like, you're supposed to be at my wedding in a couple of months and I haven't heard from you. What's happening and shit. And he just kind of vanished. So he may have had like a personal axe to grind. I don't know though, because like with the rich family, the money you don't think would have mattered, but maybe I don't know.
It just sucks so bad going through insurance, TJ.
It
doesn't matter. The money, as much as the money
issue
hurts, it's not even that. It's the fucking process.
You know what? I would love if that's the case. I would love if that was the case. He's like, I said,
TJ, I would pay more for my healthcare so I didn't have to do it. It's not even the money. It's the principle.
I spent my entire Saturday afternoon on the phone trying to get this taken care of at the hospital, and I can't take it anymore. But you know what? It must, because
and when you don't have real problems, that shit is so much worse.
Well, the bullets, though, they says like defend, deny, depose. So it sounds like his claim was denied or so. I don't know. Maybe his old man wouldn't pay for it or something. But so Huge Ass brought up something here that I think the manifesto was written by a cop. I've heard people say this. Just the wording seems like a dumb person pretending to sound like an Ivy League anarchist. Have you read the manifesto, John?
I have, yes.
It is.
And by the way, my biggest thing about the manifesto, it's kind of
boring.
Underwhelming. But like also the most interesting thing about it is that the media wouldn't release it. Like that's the most interesting thing about the manifesto, because like it took an independent journalist releasing it for it to go public, and it's like why? There was nothing bad in that manifesto.
There was nothing good in it either. It was like it was like so the manifesto. They didn't release anything like that. And you know what? We're gonna read it because you know what was weird when I heard that the manifesto was released. I mean, was with him, that it was on paper, like a 2-page paper on a manifesto on paper. Why? Like, why not post it to a forum somewhere? Why not email it to people? And that also made me think he did want to get caught. And then I read it, and folks, the manifesto short as hell. Like, this is going to be a quick read right here. This is our boy.
I did one screenshot. I posted it. Like
it is. Yeah, there's like nothing to it at all. He writes, "To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country." Not a good start. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD. I don't know what that stands for. I should probably know that.
It's what engineers used. It's a software for.
Okay.
I think he like 3D printed his gun or something.
Okay. A lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes, and the to-do list to-do list that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife or trauma, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the United States has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy. United is the largest company in the United States by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, Walmart. It has grown and grown, but has our life expectancy? No, the reality is these indecipherable have simply gotten too powerful, and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space. And frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument, but many have illuminated the corruption and greed decades ago, and the problem will simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I'm the first to face it with such brutal honesty. That's it.
The only part of that I thought was good was the last sentence. Like, evidently, I'm the first to face it with such brutal honesty is a well-written line. If the whole fucking thing was that well-written, it would have been decent. But like, this is a garbage fucking manifesto.
It's I made a visit. I am calling for a complete and total shutdown of all STEM majors writing manifestos.
This is such a STEM major fucking thing. It is such a STEM major thing. And like, that sounds like a hyperbole. No, it is fucking not. Like, he cares about the process.
You gotta quit smoking, John. You gotta quit
smoking. I know. He wants to save people time.
I know.
He's going to make this massive political statement, but he's like, I'm not going to put much effort into the statement itself.
None at all, man. None at all. It's like he's like, oh yeah, I guess I should tell people what's up.
Why bother doing this?
That was so weird because you'd think you'd have this. Honestly, then again, maybe this is the non-STEM major in me. I would have this written before I did it. It sounds like he did it afterward. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it was an afterthought. It's like, oh yeah, I guess I should write something down here or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it was all that important to him. This is like Snotty and everything. What did Hugh Jazz said? That it sounded like a smart guy or a dumb guy trying to sound smart. We've all seen this, where dumb people will throw in words that just kind of try to flower it up and it sounds weird. He used illuminate in a weird way in the beginning. I mean, it was technically correct, but it just seemed odd. Then he used illuminate again. like 6 sentences later. I was like, ugh, this is not a great. You're a college graduate. You have a master's degree. You can write better than this. I know, but then again, maybe you can't. But yeah, our boy Luigi. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens from here on.
So here's my. I'm going to put the tinfoil cap on, and
let's go.
I'm saying this. I don't believe this at all. But I'm just connecting the dots in a way that would tell a story I want to tell. And this just proves how dumb conspiracy theories are, because like if you're actually smart and creative enough, it's not that hard to create them. But what if they got this rich kid? He's actually like playing a fucking double agent. They're like, listen, you kind of look like the guy. We're going to witness protection you off somewhere else. We're going to tell him you're in this prison, whatever. You're going to have a nice, comfy life for like 20 years, and then you can go about your life. You're going to be a folk hero. We're going to pay you this amount of money. Just pretend to be the guy. And that actually does sound like an Occam's razor plausible situation. Obviously, the biggest, simplest one is he wanted to get caught.
Yeah, that's
he actually wasn't as smart as we thought he would have been. But like that would serve the motivations of the feds, and it would possibly serve the motivations of this guy. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I want so bad to hear like him and during his trial. Like I can't wait. Also, I wish I had thought of this, but I hadn't. But if you are a defense attorney in New York named Mario, you have the opportunity to do the greatest thing that's ever been done in American history. You got to do it, man. Like any defense, change your name to Mario if you have to. We have to have this happen. But no, it could be a setup that he's involved in. But then again, why? If he's just insane, I don't know.
Yeah, until proven otherwise, he's just kind of a nut job who was more intelligent than other nut jobs who have attempted similar things. That's it. Like
also, yeah, and you mentioned how and it was funny. I wonder what his firearms training, because he cleared that jam really quickly. If you remember the video, like he was firing.
He must have that's why. So that's why it's unfortunate, because again, if it was just some guy who was out there, that's fear. That's a constant fear.
No CEOs are safe. Yeah.
But now that he's caught, it's like, because even like the denied posting on the bullets, it's like
badass.
It's also like if you're talking about like storytelling, it's iceberg theory. Like it's you tell a little bit and just let everyone else fill in what's underneath the iceberg. The majority of the iceberg isn't above water. You can't see it, and people just fill it in. You can that gets filled in with whatever you want it to.
Yeah,
it was genius. It was fucking
so great,
genius. Man. And I'm so mad that someone who wasn't actually that smart came up with something so smart, because it was incredibly intelligent. I legitimately thought this guy was gonna. You know what? Tinfoil hat time again.
Let's go. The
killer's setting this guy up. The killer convinced this guy to take the fall for him, and while he's in prison, he's about to kill another CEO.
That would be great. There was a movie about that or something where
all this Luigi guy gets is fucking like he gets a couple, a slap on the wrist. He's rich. He'll get out of it for fucking aiding and abetting. That's it. A single homicide. And he's rich enough to get that down to a nice little plea bargain, and he gets to be famous for the rest of his life.
It also helps a lot that he's smoking fucking hot.
I know, right?
And he's like it's made for TV. Like this thing is just like, this is gonna we will remember Luigi Mangione, and he even has a cool name.
Dave Franco is like
Dave. He looks just like Dave Franco.
He's calling Hollywood right now, like, bro,
the Luigi Mangione story. Let's go. Let's get it on. Yeah. What was it? Let me show this. Oh God, I knew we'd talk about this the whole show. 7:20 already. All right, so I wanted to play this clip with Eric Adams. Once again, politicians do the weirdest shit.
Wait, hold on. Before you, because I want to address a comment before we go to that. So Jaden Foster says this jury selection is going to be wild. This has been cooking my noodle, TJ. If you're on the jury, you got to just jury nullification this shit, right?
What exactly is jury nullification? I don't actually know what that means. Like
you just say not guilty, even though you think he's guilty.
Isn't that just a hung jury?
It is, but he gets let off.
Oh, I thought it was different than a hung jury. Okay. So yeah, if I'm on the jury, no chance in hell I'm convicting this guy. That's like my last. The American people let me down with the 2024 election. You guys have a chance to redeem yourselves. At least the citizens of New York, you guys can redeem the entire country.
12 citizens of New York will have the chance to do something very special here.
We only need one of you. We only need one. And then again, I guess that would be a mistrial and they have to do it again. But come on, wait.
They can't. They can never say anything. They can never go to the press. They can never write a book. They can never say their reasoning for voting not guilty, because then you can get a mistrial. But if they just don't say anything, they have no legal obligation to explain themselves. And as long as they don't, it cannot be used in appeal. Because why? It's what the jury decided.
Well, but a hung jury, though, is an automatic retrial. Like, that's what happened with, like, I remember, because, like, in Walter Scott in South Carolina, when he got shot, like, they do it again. Well, I don't know. But I guess you can't do that in perpetuity. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't know how the legal system works like that. But yeah, just come on, folks. I'm banking that no one's going to actually convict this guy. Because once again, I don't know. I remember said this last show, but the whole reason that we put people behind bars that are dangerous because they could hurt other people. I don't think this guy's going to hurt other people. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't hurt any people. But I mean, he's not. I'm not afraid of Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione can hang out with me anytime he wants.
I would feel perfectly safe.
In fact, officer, he was with me on December 4th between the hours of 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So he couldn't have done that murder. So I don't know, but. Speaking of officers, I'm going to talk about former officer Eric Adams, now the mayor of New York. You've seen this, John, but this is here we go.
I
guess we found your guy.
Yes. We as New Yorkers, we appreciate it, and you just did a great job. Heads up policing. You took a dangerous person off the street. We thank you so much.
It was great to do. More than happy to do it. I can't say I was expecting it waking up this morning, but no, it was a great experience for me, and I'm more than happy to take someone like that off the street.
How many years do you have on the job now?
Well, less than a year, actually.
Wow. Well, you're gonna be the most popular police officer in your town. When I was a police officer, I would hope to have a day like this when I could take someone this dangerous off the street. You know, so I just wanted to call and just tell you thank you. New Yorkers appreciate your heads up policing. It doesn't matter what side your patch is on or what color your uniform is. We have one job, and let's make sure Americans in New York is safe.
I really appreciate the call. It's been quite the experience today. Like I said, I'm only glad to take that guy off the street for you guys, and it's just been awesome.
Thank you.
Cops are the most psychotic people on earth, man. What the fuck, man? Like, they called him a dangerous individual like 5 times in that 2-minute conversation.
It's like they're trying to convince themselves. Like it's like they no one believe. Like, okay, Republicans, even if you fucking disagree with me on universal healthcare or whatever, okay, whatever. Let's just level for a second. That guy's not a dangerous individual. You cannot sit here and tell me that you're actually afraid to sit down and have a meal with that guy unless you're a fucking healthcare CEO. If you're just a normal fucking Joe, he's no danger to you, and you fucking know that. So stop fucking pretending. Stop. Call it out. Call out the bullshit. I'll be right there with you.
Hey, you know what I just realized? I just thought of this just now. He was arrested in Pennsylvania, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is Eric Adams calling him there? Like, I can see Josh Shapiro, saying, okay, well, one of my cops arrested this guy. I'm going to give him an attaboy. Eric Adams didn't owe this guy anything. I just don't. Oh, God.
He gets the video. He gets the I caught Bin Laden sort of fucking thing going on.
But that's where I question the political instincts. Has he seen any polls saying that people hate Luigi Mangione and they can't wait to see him brought to justice? Who is this for? That's what I'm saying, like the political instinct part. Why would you feel the need to brag about, we got this guy? Now, once again, as a government official, I understand he has to do the job. The mayor isn't going to pardon this guy or something or whatever. I get that. But I'm just thinking, I'm not going to broadcast this across the state and say, yeah, look at this. Look at me gloating over the guy you all love. I would never do something like that. I understand.
Well, so there's a couple things you have to understand here. One, Eric Adams is a fascist pig.
He is, true.
He's awful. He's awful. He's one of, honestly, my most hated politicians. It is because he's so overtly a fascist pig. It's not even like Biden, where like, oh, you do some really shitty things and you do prevent progress, but you also do some good things. It's just shitty things. It's shitty things all the way down. It's terrible. And it blows my mind that anyone can even pretend that he's going to become a Republican. He's under so much legal trouble too, that like, I genuinely think his play is just like, get Trump to pardon me and be as much of a fucking sycophant as I can in order to get that to happen, or else I'm going to jail. Like, I genuinely think that's the political instinct that is driving Eric Adams right now, and that explains that. I do agree. It has been interesting to see how politicians react to this, because I think on the show we talked about Tim Walz's reaction on Thursday, but like, I thought that there was, first of all, there was fucking Dean Phillips, right? Wasn't Dean Phillips the one that like he actively was like, hey guys, let's talk about the dangers of fucking privatized healthcare, and he just straight up said it, and just ignoring the killing. I thought Bernie Sanders also did it in a very interesting way, where he quote tweeted an Elon Musk quote tweet, so that like nothing was ever mentioned about the killer.
Smart.
He made a very, very direct message. Hey guys, this is where I stand on this, as much as I can say it publicly as a U.S. senator. But you're right. It is a very weird position, because it's like, yeah, I don't actually want my elected politicians to say they're rooting for this guy.
Right.
Even though I do want that, but like it would be a bad look. Like,
yes, I want them to shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Don't say a word. Like this is, I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the clip with Josh Shapiro about this?
Yes.
So for those of you, let me see if I can get it up here. This is Josh Shapiro.
Some attention in this case, especially online, has been deeply disturbing, as some have looked to celebrate instead of condemning this killer. Brian Thompson was a father to two. He was a husband, and he was a friend to many.
I've heard enough. All right, I it was upsetting enough when he said that I cannot believe people are celebrating this killer. I could let it slide, though. You are a governor. I get it, I guess. But then he started saying Brian Thompson was a pillar of the community. He was a family man. Fuck you. Okay. I just no. Brian Thompson killed way more people than Luigi Mangione would ever dream of doing. So no, I don't feel sorry for him. Okay. I don't. I feel sorry for Luigi Mangione. And I know a lot less about him than I know about Brian Thompson, but I know everything I need to. But the day Luigi Mangione kills thousands of people and denies old people health insurance that they die from and withhold their benefits, yeah, then let me know. Come get me then. But till now, all my sympathy is with the guy who's in jail.
Yeah, no. So Josh Shapiro goes on to say, and by the way, guys, I'm reading this off my phone because my computer won't let me log into Instagram. So like, I don't know if anyone knows fucking Mark, let him know to let me back in. But Josh Shapiro, quote, in America, we do not kill people in cold blood to resolve policy differences or express a viewpoint. I have no tolerance, nor should anyone, for one man using an illegal ghost gun to murder someone because he thinks his opinion matters most. He is not a hero. First of all, Josh, I like Josh as a governor. Let me be clear about this. He does a pretty good job here in Pennsylvania. I don't agree with a lot of his philosophical stances or a lot of the statements he makes on certain issues. He does a decent job as governor, though. So I don't want to be too critical of Josh Shapiro. He isn't like fucking John Fetterman or anything. But yes, in America, we do kill people in cold blood to resolve policy differences all the fucking time, constantly. Like, we're killing fucking thousands of children in Palestine right fucking now to resolve policy differences. What are you talking about? That's what America does. That's like as American as apple pies, killing each other to solve fucking policy differences. It's just that in this situation, it was one person enacting violence on another person, not a government or a police force or a healthcare system enacting that violence on thousands, if not millions. Of all of the takes I want people to come away from this with, I agree. TJ probably disagrees with me on this a little bit, but I'm not a violent person. I condemn the use of violence. But you know what? When someone uses violence as a result of an inherently violent system being inflicted upon them and millions or thousands of others, well, you know what? I'm going to blame the fucking system first, just like I do in Israel, which is an apartheid state, just like I do here in America when we talk about, like police brutality and violence. It's what I say about fucking non-voters. I'm not going to blame the non-voters who didn't vote for Kamala Harris. I'm going to blame Kamala Harris for not earning their fucking vote. You blame the powerful people most, and somehow in this country, we've developed this morality where we blame the individual more than we do the people, the powerful people who control the systems that actually kill everyone. And I want people to come away with that take. I want that to be the leading take coming out of this, because that is a winning message that is also correct. And the more that we can espouse that, because they're attacking the straw man of like, oh, he's a hero. No, he's not a hero as a person. His actions were actually kind of dumb. But like what he is saying needs to be heard. And I feel like anyone who is saying that isn't correct, you're on the wrong side of this.
Yeah, and also it is funny to me when people say stuff like that. It's like, in America, we don't kill people over policy differences. Bitch, that's how America got here. Okay, that's the only reason we're here. Okay, so
how America got here. That's why you're legally allowed to talk to me right now.
Yes,
it's why a lot of things happen in this country.
Yeah. You think a guy named Josh Shapiro would have been governor? If you know what, it's just, I don't know. It's just wild. And as far as the violence thing, and you were talking about, I think I pointed this out before, that it's funny to me who is allowed to be violent and who isn't. I've brought this up several times, that certainly when it comes to minorities, that minorities are always like exalted. Like the minorities people love the most are the peaceful ones. Like Martin Luther King's a good example, or Gandhi, although it was the United States, Susan B. Anthony. And like the only people who are actually allowed, like whenever violence is permitted by the US government, is to a very specific type of person. And I always ask people, like, can you think of a white Christian male who's a champion of nonviolence like Martin Luther King is? It's kind of hard.
You're going to stretch the term white, but there's the OG Christian male.
You're gonna see. There you go. Yeah, so you got. Gonna stretch the term white, according to them. Yeah, and so a guy thousands of years ago. That's our example. But no, really. But like in modern society, the people that are revered are the warriors, the fighters, people who went out like Luigi Mangione and got shit done. It just depends what side you're going to be on. And I don't know why I thought of this, but Josh Shapiro, and he was like, we got to go pretty soon, but reminding me of this. But our love for process and our love for the rules, and that it doesn't matter the damage that's done by the rule. John Brown, which is an example of the opposite or whatever. Look, so John Brown, for those of you who don't know, started a slave revolt in, I think, 1858. And his plan was to try to violently overthrow slavery in the United States. And he captured Harper's Ferry, which was National Guard Armory. He ended up losing because his plan was really bad, but he ended up losing. And he was the first person executed for treason in the United States. It was John Brown, for trying to overthrow slavery. So that's how you some of the nation. But our reverence for the rules and that, well, things are fine because this piece of paper here says so. It reminds me of Joe Kennedy III, a famous tweet that he put out. And, where'd it go? I just had it. A famous tweet that he put out talking about this. Well, not this, but it was a medical debt. Let's see if I can pull this up right here. This is great podcasting here, where I'm just all right, here we go. But this is a great tweet that encapsulates the Democratic Party, if you ask me. Joe Kennedy III said, not a single patient should be forced to fight off medical bankruptcy in the midst of a global health pandemic without a lawyer by their side. I love that. It is just it is a sentence that is exactly 6 words too long. And it's a perfect example of how the Democratic Party think, and the United States, honestly, in general, is like, well, this is fine. It's horrific. But you know what? The paper says it's fine. So we can go on from there. Oh,
TJ, God, there's so many.
We can do more on Thursday. We'll have
this will be a continued topic on Thursday.
Yeah.
Something I want to say here is that there is like a legitimate piece of me this has made me staunchly question my positions, because like when you're going to say something as vitriolic as no, I stand with the killer. Like you want to make sure that you got your fucking ducks in a row.
Yep.
And so I've been very much interrogating my position. And this is something I do quite often especially when I support more radical positions. And there's this part of me that goes, oh, well, what if I'm wrong? What if, the system really does work? The radicals are the ones who are trying to hurt things, and the people who have been maintaining the status quo, they're right. This is the way things need to happen, whatever,
Mhm.
And every time I do that, you can just easily look back through history, well-recorded history, like you said with John Brown. Clearly, John Brown was
He was
fucking
right.
right. Clearly, the system was wrong. And you keep doing that through history. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit, all the way to the civil rights movement. Ah, fuck no, yeah, the fucking black revolutionaries, they were very fucking right. Clearly, they were. Then you fast forward to the fucking Iraq War. Oh no, the people who were against the Iraq War, no, they were
The Code Pink
right.
folks were absolutely
Like,
right. Yep.
It is so obvious every time who was right historically, and it pisses me off how this and I kind of get it, because again, I have this entrenched desire to be wrong about. I want so badly to be wrong, but just history keeps slapping me in the face every time that I fucking interrogate these positions, and unfortunately, I don't think I am, DJ.
It's all right. It's all right. All right. Oh,
wait. We got to acknowledge.
I know. I saw this guy.
Heather says he's too pretty for prison. Heather, you're very right. He's thank God he's rich, and he's gonna be able to, not get treated that poorly, because damn, he would get treated poorly.
Listen,
did you see the fucking Fox News guy say they should rape him, basically?
Yeah,
Oh my
I saw
God.
Jesse Waters, of course, and everything. But man, I want if God give us one thing, free Luigi Mangione. Let there be some sort of the cop didn't read his Miranda rights, or just some fucking technicality that they gotta let him off the hook or something.
Because I'm less interested to see what he has to say. I'm more interested to see what the legal defense his rich ass lawyers are going to take, because this could rock the fucking legal system to its core. You've never had a rich, violent revolutionary before. We've never seen the full weight and power of this many lawyers fighting the U.S. justice system.
Man, it's we need this guy free. We need him talking on college campuses. We need him running for. If Luigi Mangione gets out of prison, he could be king of the fucking world. I mean, it's all right. We gotta save this for next show. But all right. So on Thursday, we'll be joined by Destructo Jugo, Ate, and we'll get the topics out later. All right, folks, catch you later.
Goodbye, guys.